Hello everyone, my name is Amber. Welcome to my channel, Amber Reads Romance, and I am excited because I am here with another Rina Kent vlog. I am so sorry I am so late getting this done. This book has been on my TBR for the last 2 months. I'm finally getting to it at the end of June here, so I'm determined I need to get it done this month because I've been dying to read this book. It's been a big anticipated read for me. And so I'm here to vlog Kiss the Villain by Rina Kent. So I am very excited and nervous for this because this is an MM romance. It's dark, as Rina Kent always is. But I loved God of Fury. It's my favorite Rina Kent. It's my favorite MM romance. So I'm interested to see if she's going to be able to recapture that type of magic for me. I honestly doubt anything's gonna really top that, and obviously she kind of has to write something a little different, you know, not following the same type of thing. So I actually already started this today, so let's go ahead and dive into my thoughts from just the beginning of this newer Rina Kent, Kiss the Villain. Okay guys, so it's actually a really beautiful day in San Diego right now. So I just got home from work and I thought I would just do my check-in real quick. I'm out on my porch, but anyways, Kiss the Villain. I have started this today at work. I actually decided to use a credit and get the audiobook because I did just do a reread listening of God of Fury and I just love that audiobook. It was one of my favorite audiobooks I've heard or listened to. So I ended up getting the audiobook, but I'm also kind of highlighting in my Kindle as I'm like listening to it and following along. So more of an immersive experience. Whatever. It sounds so stupid. But anyways, if you are new to my channel, welcome. Hope you subscribe. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow me. And if you are new and you aren't aware, I do have a whole playlist of Rina Kent vlogs because I decided to basically read Rina Kent's entire backlist in her reading order so I could get to the Legacy of God series. So I finally finished it this year. I think it was before the end of the year. Yeah, I did think I finished it at the end of the last year. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to keep this going. I'm going to vlog every new Rina Kent book. So if you want more thoughts, if you want all the spoilers, all my feelings on any Rina Kent book, check out that playlist because there's a lot. But hopefully these vlogs won't be as long because I'll basically be probably just doing one book at a time as they're releasing since I've already read her backlist. But let's go ahead and talk about Kiss the Villain, okay? Now, if you have read Legacy of Gods, you will recognize Gareth Carson. He is actually Killian's brother. I believe it's Killian, right? Anyways, he is like kind of the golden boy. He's the good brother. And this is not this is not in the Legacy of God series. So this is kind of like a spin-off and it's going to do different things. Rina Kent, and it's not, I don't think each book is going to be MM, but I know people were like losing their minds over this book, which I basically stayed away from all the drama and negative stuff going on because they were attacking her for wanting to write MM now. And, you know, I just thought it was ridiculous. She can write whatever she wants. Sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent already. She can write whatever she wants. And obviously, we really loved God of Fury. It's her, like, one of her most popular, best books. So why wouldn't she, if she enjoyed writing that, continue that type of journey? But anyways, I'm going to get off that soapbox now. And I'll probably rant about it later. And I don't know. Who knows how I'll feel as I'm reading this. But there was a lot of drama about this book, and I just didn't pay attention because I didn't want anything to be spoiled for me. But this is tied to the Legacy of God series because, again, we're taken back to the initiation that goes on in every single one of those books, which is kind of frustrating because I'm like over the initiation at this point. But we're finding out what was going on with Gareth, because even in God of Fury, he kind of has a talk with Nico, when Nico's like asked him if he would ever be with a man, or if he could be attracted to a man or anything like that, because he's wondering about Brandon. And Gareth kind of like lets it hint that like he might be, but he's not really gay, but it might just be this one person type of thing. So it really intrigued me, and I was like, what's going on with Gareth, you know? So in this, we have Gareth, and then we have Caden Lockwood. Now, in the beginning of this book, Gareth is doing something really fucked up. There's kind of like this, they kind of have competing clubs, almost mafia type club things. They're at this elite school, and his group is at war. I think it was with the Serpents, if I'm remembering the name correctly. And so he decides he's going to drug this guy that's like leading it, that they're kind of feuding with, and kind of like put lube on him and make him look like he had an interaction with a guy. And so it's a really fucked up thing he's about to do. He wasn't going to rape him for real, but he was going to drug him and do shit to him. And then, like, I think film it. I can't remember, but it's wrong. It's fucked up. What else do you expect out of these books? So, but when he shows up in the room, it's not, I think it's Julian. I think it's Julian, which I'm very intrigued by that character, because I think there's going to be stuff going on with him and the other person that was like never part of the school, but participated in their like initiations and stuff. So anyways, we'll see. I think there's more to come there. And anyways, so this other man is there, and it ends up being Caden Lockwood. And Caden Lockwood basically accuses him, like, of what he was going to do, almost rape, drugging, doing fucked up shit. And in the beginning of this, he basically makes him suck his dick. So we have another forced, like, blowjob situation here. And, you know, Gareth is just, like, horrified, because he's never been attracted to a man. He's being forced, and, like, a lot of pain and, like, dirty talk, degradation stuff going on. And he's pretty turned on. So that's kind of where we kick off with this book, which is pretty crazy. And then he goes to class, and lo and behold, who is his new teacher? The man that just did that to him. So this is an age gap. There's like an 11-year age difference. I think Caden was like 33 and he's almost 22. So there's an age gap here. But Gareth is like pissed. This guy is his teacher. I think it's like a criminal studies type of class too. And so it starts this like dynamic with them where like Gareth really wants to fuck him back, like get back at him, and he's like following him, like stalking him. And, you know, Caden knows, and he's like, you know, just letting him. So there's some crazy stuff that's going on in this book. So they have this crazy push and pull. Caden is not gay either. So either one of them, like, really were attracted to men before, but they are really attracted to each other, and they get off on their whole dynamic, because we kind of see that, like, Gareth always wants to be in control. He has a perfect image he likes to uphold, and Caden can kind of see through all of that. He sees through his bullshit, and he kind of calls him out on it. And so at one point, Caden gets an invite to the initiation. He has like a hacker guy working for him. He's going to have ties to something bigger. You just know. And so he gets this invite to it, and he gets really irritated seeing Gareth with a woman, which was that annoying bitch Cherry that I hated from the first book. And like reading her, I just didn't like her. Anyways, and he's just like really pissed off with this girl touching him, and he gets kind of jealous, and so they get after it, and it gets intense. I mean, there's like, they're kissing, they're playing with each other, like, but it's very violent, like very forceful. And so that's kind of different. And this one is like Nico and Brandon were like super hot and got a fury, but they were like sweet. You know, like they were sweet and smitten with each other. This is like a violent, like feisty kind of interactions between these two. And so like at one point Caden is like fingering, you know, him and rimming him and all this kind of stuff, and is like he's almost gonna F him. And, you know, Gareth is like, that's where he draws the line. He's like, don't fucking do that. Like, he does not want to be fucked, basically. That's kind of what he says. He thinks of himself as the alpha, as the dominant. But really, he does get kind of submissive or, like, interested in things that Caden does. And he's more of, like, the instigator. So Caden kind of thinks he's just too scared to go there. But he basically says, like, oh, I wouldn't screw you raw without any lube. I'm not a total monster. so he like fingers him, gets him off, and he gets off on him, and it's a whole thing. So it's pretty hot. I won't lie, one part that I wasn't really into was like he kept referring to his asshole as like a pussy, and it was just really kind of taking me out of the scene. Like, I didn't want it to be referred that way. I want it to be where it's like his ass, like not like feminizing it a little bit. Like, I don't know, I think that's maybe a kink, so no kink shaming here, but it kind of took me out of like being turned on or into it, because I was like, oh, I don't want you to call it his pussy. Like, and he's like, yeah, your pussy, my pussy really wants my cock. I don't know, it got a little crazy. So that kind of happens, and then, you know, we're going to school and all this kind of stuff, and then, like, when Caden is, like, trying to punish himself, I guess his father used to put him in ice baths. So you can see that Caden has a very dark history and some more mysterious stuff going on. And he's, like, giving himself an ice bath to kind of control himself and to stop him being obsessed with, like, Gareth. And Gareth breaks in, basically. And they have this, like, whole conversation. They're kind of talking. But, of course, it quickly turns hot and heavy and then kind of violent. Oh, and earlier, he had, like, spanked him with initiation. Caden, like, spanked Gareth. And he was like, don't you dare. Like, how dare you fucking spank me? But he gets off on it. So that's what I was trying to say is Gareth really likes the pain. He gets off, he gets turned on by the spankings, by biting, by the roughness. So, and they both get really into like a more violent type of sexual dynamic. And so, like, you know, he's wanting to like F him again. Like, Caden wants to fuck Gareth. And he's like, you'll never fuck me. Like, I'm not going to get fucked. And he's like, oh, is that what it is? And he's like, he doesn't make sense to him, because he's like, I could tell he would be into it, but like he can't admit that he would be into being fucked. So he's like, if you can get me turned over, switch positions with me, because he was on top of him, he's like, then you can fuck me. And then, of course, like, he's not letting Gareth do it. And then Gareth, like, freaking has a stun gun and stuns him and, like, drags him in the bedroom. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. So this book is pretty crazy. I'm interested. I'm not feeling as connected to them like I did Nico and Brandon, but that book is special to me. So I don't expect that from every, you know, male romance that she's going to write. So I am intrigued. I am enjoying it. And we'll see how it goes from here. So anyways, thank you so much for watching this. I will probably check back with you when I'm a little bit over halfway through the book. I'm about 30% through right now, so I'm going pretty quickly through this because it is a thicker book, but it's very fast moving. The pacing is really quick, and there's a lot of dirty talk and dark romance and crazy stuff going on. So anyways, I will see you guys once I get a little bit more than halfway through. Hey guys, so it's kind of late, but I have been sucked into this book. I've been listening to the audiobook and highlighting as I'm going in my Kindle. And then I also have this copy. I think actually, I don't know if this was an error with my copy because it has like the green weird line going down the side. I felt like that looked off because then it's black and then part green here. I don't know. It just seemed like it had an issue with it. This was the copy too that she had released independently, and so I wanted to pick it up as soon as I could. I don't think it's not available anymore, so I might even buy the newer copy, the newer version with like Bloom or whatever. But anyways, I have been kind of sucked into this. It's definitely not God of Fury, you guys. I am not emotional reading this at all. Again, Rina Kent does suck me in. She has some kinky stuff in here, a lot of kinky stuff, some interesting dynamics between these two, but it is definitely not providing that more emotional, moving book, at least yet, that God of Fury did. So obviously, I can't keep comparing it to God of Fury. That's just my favorite, you guys. I just love it so much. I will say it is amazing to see Nico again in this. It does replace some of the scenes that we got in God of Fury, but I don't think that's a big deal, especially if somebody hadn't read that series and they were just kind of going in blind. It's good that they're kind of rehashing that. But I'm trying to think of what I need to go over because this book is just kind of crazy. So we have, where did I even leave off, you guys? I'm just a mess. It's kind of late at night and I wanted to do a check-in because I honestly wanted to keep going. And I figured if I kept going, I would finish it tonight without doing a check-in. So anyways, we have Caden and Gareth, and they are very sucked into each other after their, I'm trying to remember if I even brought up, I think I only brought up when they were kind of like messing around because eventually we do get to them fully having penetrative sex. And Gareth, there's so much push and pull. He's fighting this. He doesn't want to acknowledge he's gay, even though I don't really think he's gay. He may be asexual or that type of situation. And it's kind of crazy because, like, I'm sorry, I keep mixing his name up with a different hero. But anyways, Caden's very fine with the way he feels. He's very open to it. He's very intrigued by Gareth, even though he's like his little monster, he calls him. He knows Gareth is not stable. You can kind of see, which I'm kind of jumping ahead, but like some impulsive kind of behaviors coming out of, sorry, my lighting is really bad because it's late at night. So bear with the bad lighting. But anyways, he has very impulsive behavior and he kind of gets obsessive, which we're starting to see near where I kind of left off in this. But anyways, like him and Caden are just drawn to each other, and eventually, like, they're both jealous. They don't like seeing each other with other women. Caden full on tells him, you better not have any girls near you because you're mine. You're my little fuck toy and I don't want anybody touching you. He gets jealous of, like, Caden because he goes out on a date at one point. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff. But they're, like, not into these other women at all. It's kind of like this game that they're playing and trying to outmaneuver each other. So that's very interesting. So I'm trying to even remember when they first have sex, how it came about. Like, it's just so... It's been a lot of sex scenes, a lot of stuff going on already. But... like, basically, Gareth... Oh, okay. I'm remembering now. Sorry, guys, it's late. Gareth, like, gets really pissed because he was on a date. Caden was on a date with a chick, and he basically shows up at his house, and he's, like, going off on him. And the guy's like, you know, you made a mistake making me jealous with that other girl, and if you want, you can watch me and that chick get it on, and all this stuff. He's very, like, poking the tiger. And Gareth can't take it anymore, so he, like, follows him in the bedroom. And, they start to get after it a little bit, and Caden wants to fuck him, and he's like, no, I can't. Like, and Caden's like, are we seriously still gonna keep doing this? Like, you want it. And so Gareth is like, no, I like can't do it. Like, I need you to kind of force the situation. I can't like just let you fuck me. I need you to force it, because it's like his whole body and being and everything just rebels against that, but he wants it. And so he asks Caden to tie him up. And so we get a very spicy, hot sex scene. Now, the thing is, I'm not fully invested or turned on that much by the sex scenes, because they keep bringing up, like, this is my pussy, this is my pussy. It's, like, really not my bag, okay? Now, no kink shaming. If that's something you really like to read, you're going to love this, because it is a lot of dirty talk, a lot of, Caden telling him how his pussy belongs to him, and he's going to come in his pussy, and his pussy's so tight, and it's a lot of it. So that kind of just isn't really my favorite. But again, it's not making it unbearable. I'm not skipping the sex scenes. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still enjoying them. Just, I don't know. Not the same for me. So they basically kind of start this sexual relationship, and we kind of have a lot of time jumps, which kind of threw me off. It'd be like, 3 weeks later, or a couple weeks later. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I get we're trying to show like time going by and how things are progressing with their relationship. He even one time Gareth shows up at his house and meets his mom's. His mom left his dad, who pretty sure is like an evil guy, and married, the love of her life. And so he's got two moms, and he kind of woos them, because Gareth is very good at showing a public facade. But so they have a pretty intense relationship. But Gareth is very sensitive. He's impulsive, like I said, and he can act like a little brat, and Caden likes to punish him because he gets really mad about the way Caden treats him in class or talks down to him. And you can tell Gareth really wants his approval and his praise. He really needs it. But they actually have a good conversation about that later on. They do actually have, so it's a very sexual relationship, but they do have some intimate moments. They do a lot of cuddling, making dinner together, being together. So, I mean, there is relationship stuff going on here. It just doesn't feel as deep as I want it to be yet. There was some good conversations because they talk about their tattoos and kind of what they represent. And then Gareth actually opens up about his past and how a teacher had kind of not really fully groomed him, but used him. And he used him because of his who his family is. He is tied to the mafia, the Bratva, I believe. Yes, the Bratva. And so this teacher kind of used him and made him feel special, because he always compares himself to Killian and thinks he's not as good as Killian and always trying to be better than Killian. He's even jealous right now because after the stuff that goes on in God of Malice, which is Killian's book, Killian and his father are trying to mend their relationship, and he is pretty jealous about that. So he actually opens up about this teacher that had kind of worked him, manipulated him, and then ended up kidnapping him to try and get money or revenge or whatever against their family. So that kind of fucked him up because he saw him brutally murdered and he liked it. And so as a young kid, that really messed him up. So I don't know how old he was actually when that happened. So might not be a kid, but teen years. Either way, I don't know. So they've kind of had these good conversations, really getting to know each other, and Caden is just really into him. But some of that impulsive behavior is coming out with Gareth, and he's hinted about something happened bad, I think, like with a woman from his past when he got too obsessive. Like, I don't know if he stalked her or hurt her. I have no idea, but he's like, I can't get back to that place. And even when he was talking about a man that he was interested in, with like about Caden or somebody to his grandfather, I don't think they don't know it's Caden or a man or anything. His grandfather was like, are you getting obsessed? Like, kind of worried. So he definitely has this in him, because like it was like a day of Caden not responding to his texts, and he becomes like kind of stalkerish and psycho and like, where are you? And so he's gonna need to dial that back a little bit. But there was a big like twist, because we kept hearing in Caden's POV, he's like, oh, he'll be like talking about how into him he is, and then he'll be like, but because of her, and brings up a woman and this she, and who is this woman? And at the end of that chapter, it was like a what the fuck moment, because he's like, we find out that he's married. So I'm pretty sure that's going to lead to a lot of drama in this. So I'm enjoying it. I haven't put it down. Like, I've been hooked to it. So I'm like about like 60 something % through already. And so I'm enjoying it. Again, not as deep as an emotional book as like what I wanted. But I can't expect that every time, because Rina Kent usually doesn't do a God of Fury book for me. Like, that was a very rare and amazing book that's not her usual type, and that's why it's my favorite. So I'm still enjoying this. Again, can't wait to finish it and give you guys my final thoughts. I'm probably skipping over some stuff. I can't even remember. There's just a lot going on in this. But I will follow back up with you guys once I finish this, probably tomorrow. All right, see you guys on the next clip. Hey guys, I am back with my final check-in on Kiss the Villain, and this was one wild ride. Now, I don't even know for sure where I left off, because I meant to do my check-in yesterday, and I didn't. When I got home from work, I just was kind of like done. I actually was reading it late into the night before, after I filmed my last clip, and then I finished it pretty quickly, like on the way to work, and then like the first hour at work or so. So I'm so sorry. I'm not positive where I left off, and I didn't even check my last clip, because you know that's how it goes. So I'm gonna kind of sum up the last part of this book the best I can. Most of it is probably just gonna be my feelings. You know how I always get with these vlogs. So I think I kind of ended where we know that Caden Lockwood is married. I don't know for sure if that's where I left off, but anyways, a lot of craziness ensues in the last part of this book. We have a lot of reveals going on. Caden and Gareth have really like come together. They're really fully in with each other. I will say I really liked the whole side thing of Julian and Gareth's cousin, I think it is. Is it cousin or friend? I can't remember. And I'm trying to remember if he is shoot, now I forgot the name and it just escaped me, but one of my favorite characters that was like the Russian Bratva, I think it's like his son. I can't remember. I'm out of it today, you guys. Sorry, but I liked that he was like kind of communicating with him online, but they had like different names. So it's like they didn't know who each other was, but they pretty much both know. You find out by the end when he talks to his friend that it was like known. They both knew who each other was, but it was nice to be able to like have a confidant to talk about these issues with, because Gareth really needed somebody to talk to about his feelings for Caden. Now we do see, like I brought up, that he does get very possessive and obsessive. So he becomes pretty, you know, obsessed with Caden, and it's not very healthy. But let's just admit it, these guys are both not very healthy. So what ends up happening is you kind of get this reveal that Caden is he's like part of a bigger family. And it is a family that has a lot of power, and they're super rich, like even richer than Gareth's family. And he is part of like a secret society called Vencor. And the end ties into the Vencor, which will be her other series, which is going to have, I think, his like nephew. And it's like a hockey college secret society type of series. So this kind of is leading into that. Now, sorry, I'm all over the place here, but you kind of find out that he has been hiding things. So, and he has this powerful family. He had killed for this family. His father was very abusive to him and his brother, but his brother is the one that's kind of like more in power in this secret society. Like, you know, Caden just didn't really want much to do with it. But all of that is important because it leads to a lot of the suspense and shit that goes down in this, because we do find out that Gareth kind of goes to him because Gareth gets sent a video of, and like pictures, I think it was a video of Caden and his wife. And so he loses it. He starts like cutting himself. So just be aware there's a lot of self-harm in here. And he starts like cutting himself at Caden's thing, and he's like confronting him, like calling him like, is it true? And Caden's like, just let me explain, you know. And so Gareth is just like quickly devolving and like losing it. And so we find out the truth, and it is that Caden was married, but she has died. And Caden had this whole classroom like assignment about like a case where a woman was raped, and they're supposed to do like defense and prosecution and stuff. And he was always really hard on Gareth because he came off so callous about it. And it's because we learned that, you know, Caden's wife was raped by multiple people, and then she died. And so they were not in love. They were like kind of like an arranged marriage, you know, like powerful families do, but she was his friend. He did like appreciate her and love her in a friend way. So he kind of lost it after her death and wanted revenge against all these people that did this. And supposedly one of these guys that was there was Gareth's grandfather, which if you've read the previous series, Gareth's grandfather, I really liked his character. I think his mom's Rina. It's one of the twins. I always forget Rina. I mix up their names, whatever. And I think it's Asher was the father. But I read that book because obviously I've read this entire backlist. So I was like, there's no way. The grandfather was like a really great character. Don't worry, he had nothing to do with it. But we find out that Gareth had basically had a friend that he was kind of a girlfriend. He loved her as much as he was able. He loved that he saw this like very depressed darkness, sadness inside her. And he found out that she had been raped and assaulted by her father. Like he wanted her to take her mom's place after her mom died. And so she was just in this horrible, you know, situation, and she ends up killing herself. So Gareth actually murders her father, and he gets a rush out of it. He always had this emptiness inside him, and he really enjoyed killing her father, but that feeling quickly goes, you know. And so his grandfather actually stepped in and covered it up and was like, you can never get this obsessed about anything. You'll get caught. You'll be in prison. You will not be able to last like that. And so that's why he's always had this very controlled type of behavior and personality. He's always trying to keep that under wraps. And so his grandfather was at this event earlier where Caden's wife was raped. But he had left earlier in the day, but he figured out what kind of had happened. But he was blackmailed with Gareth's murder to not ever say anything. So his father, basically this is all a lot, but his grandfather had nothing to do with it. But Caden, his wife's brother and him have been kind of doing this revenge plot. And this is part of the reason why Caden was zeroing in on Gareth to begin with. When he saw him, which he thinks he was probably gonna like rape Julian or do something to Julian. Gareth was never gonna do that. He was gonna fuck with him and make him think he messed with him around with the man and have it look like cum was on him and stuff. So it was fucked up. But when he saw that behavior, it pissed him off because he's like, he's a monster like his grandfather, all that type of stuff. So he was gonna kind of like fuck with the grandfather through his grandchild, Gareth. But then he became obsessed with him and fell for him. So, but the brother, his wife's brother, wants to go after Gareth. He's the one that sent the message to Gareth with the video of him and his wife. He ends up like kidnapping Gareth and like torturing him. And they're like beating the ever living shit out of Gareth. And he's like zero response, which kind of creeps the brother out. He's like, dude, this guy, I think he was in the Irish Mafia, the brother. This guy is like fucked in the head. But once he brings up that Gareth was like a replacement for his wife and all this stuff, that's when Gareth loses it. So anyways, he ends up getting him from there, and this whole kind of like third act of them being separated happens because Gareth is upset. He's at home for a while because he has to kind of recover from all his injuries. And Caden really wants him back, but he feels really guilty, and Gareth wants nothing to do with him. He feels completely brokenhearted by it. But there's some really good emotional scenes with Gareth and his father, because he finds out his father didn't know about him murdering his girlfriend's father way back. He did know the truth about Gareth, but he just tried to channel his energies into like hunting, because Gareth was really into hunting and archery and all that kind of stuff. And so, like, he had always tried to be the perfect son for his father, and then his father actually knew the truth and loves him and still wants to be there for him. So there's some really good moments there. And, you know, Caden has, like, his security chick who is, like, kind of posing as the PI person for Gareth. She's kind of watching out for Gareth and stuff because, you know, the brother is, like, still out there. And then he does end up catching the brother, torturing him and killing him and stuff. But that guy had released a video of Gareth and Caden making out and going after in the car. And Vencor is not supportive or accepting of homosexuality. And so they're going to be after Caden. So he's going to kind of have to be going on the run. And so then we kind of have this thing at the end where Gareth does show up to Caden's place before he's like gonna leave and go on the run, and they express like their frustrations, their love for each other, they have sex, and then there's a big shootout that happens because Caden's brother has found him, and he actually like tries to send him away. All this stuff goes down. I'm just gonna sum over it, but basically like Caden takes a bullet for Gareth and almost dies. And so he also, Gareth gets his like mafia family to kind of put a protection out for Caden so that he'll be okay. All that stuff kind of was like all over the top, which Rina Kent always does. So whatever, it's no surprise. I thought him getting protection when this secret society was out for him just kind of summed up a little too quickly, felt a little like just brushed over. But you know, they end up together. They are out finally out in a relationship together, and everybody accepts them. Obviously, you know, Caden has some work to do with Gareth's family, but he's sticking it out. So then it kind of does an epilogue, and you kind of can see the tie-in to the next series. And then the next book in this is going to be Julian, and why can't I remember his name? Like, I am so annoyed with myself. What is his name? Let me see if I can find it. Okay, guys, I finally got it. Vaughn. Okay, so it's going to be Vaughn and Julian's story, which is I'm really intrigued for. I think some people were like doing a lot of drama over like that he would never be gay, and why is she making her characters gay? And I'm like, I don't understand where that comes from, because Vaughn's barely been featured in the Legacy of God series, and he was like the fifth or whatever member of like their crew, but he didn't even go to the school with them. So Anyways, and I can't for the life of me remember the father's name, that I think it's the father, but forget it, you guys. I have other filming to do. I just need to wrap this up. So anyways, I enjoyed this. I couldn't put it down. I found it very fascinating. I was hooked, but I was not emotionally invested as I was with God of Fury. Obviously, it's not fair to just compare this to God of Fury. It's a totally different book. I did love seeing Nico and Brandon again in here, and the audiobook was fantastic. I highly recommend it. Stephen Dexter is one of my favorite narrators, and then it has a full cast, and so you do get Teddy Hamilton as Nico again. Shane East isn't in it that much because Brandon doesn't really show up till like the very end. But it was a very, very good audiobook. So I flew through this. Again, it just didn't hit me as emotionally. And so I was kind of debating what I wanted to rate it. I think I'm going to be giving it a 4.5 stars because I just couldn't get over the feminization kink. It was really like not letting me enjoy it as much. But that's just me. If you enjoy that, you're definitely going to love this. You are going to love this. I just didn't prefer that in my sex scenes. But, and then obviously I just wanted a little bit of more of emotional connection. It's a lot of toxic relationship, rough sex. There's some really good like secret tattoos, like tattoo for him type of situations, yeah, it's hot. It's hot, you guys. It is. It's Rina Kent. You'll enjoy it. So I'm going to settle with probably 4.5 stars and then probably 4 chilies. But definitely another enjoyable one from Rina Kent. I can't wait for the next one in this series. And then I'm going to be vlogging Beautiful Venom next. So thank you so much for watching this. Let me know if you've read this, what you thought of this book, if you agree with me on any of these things. I had a great time. I'm always enjoying doing these Rina Kent vlogs, so it will be continuing for the future. All right, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave me a like, comment down below, and I will see you guys on the next one.